gentlemen, welcome to the 2017 season of NOLA Voice Theatre at the Valiant Theatre and Lounge. We'd like to thank all of you for joining us here this evening. Because this is Voice Theatre, and also we're podcasting right now to all of our friends on Facebook. Say hello, Facebook. Hello. Talking Beagle. We'd like to let you know a couple of things about Voice Theatre. All of the actors will be carrying their scripts with them on stage. We do have some walking, but by and large, this is Voice Theatre. We're concentrating on the sound of the voices. We're concentrating on the live sound effects. We'd like to introduce our sound techs to you today, Miss Beverly Brooks and Miss Darcy Preston. Oh, wait. We have a sign for that. So when you see the applause sign, please, by all means, do applaud. We're going to be going on the air in just a few moments, so we'd like for you all to sit back, relax, and enjoy Act 1 of NOLA Voice Theatre at the Valiant Show 1. Untold New Orleans, an anthology of tales from the checkered hidden history of the Jewel of the Crescent. Starring in tonight's show are Soline McLain, Bucha, Boudreaux, Stephen Denny, Jessica Daigle, Aaron Shields, Richard Bayer, and Edward R. Thomas as Monsieur, keeper of the confidential records for the city of New Orleans. And now, descend beneath Canal Street, long forgotten tunnels near the river, and feast upon the mysterious and astounding events which have transpired in this legendary city called New Orleans. The keeper is ready to receive you.
Bonjour mes enfants, comment ça va? Je m'appelle Monsieur Darque de Valiant, and that concludes my performance in French for this evening. I see you made it through the maze. Bon, make yourselves comfortable. We have so much to talk about. I was just going over some records from the ancient Greeks, with their minotaurs and griffins, to the modern Godzilla and zombies, humanity's monsters that represented warnings of dreadful days of vulnerability and crisis. In some cultures like ours, monsters representing something more, a dead a prophecy fulfilled, or the terrible wrath of karmic intervention, perhaps even a curse. This file, marked New Orleans murders, contains some of the oldest and most disturbing files we keep. The earliest stories of the Rougarou go back to the first years of the city, when the brothers de Villeville were Louisiana. These crumbling pages are all that's left and remains of the diary of cartographer and master planner of Mobile, Alabama, and New Orleans, Adrienne Depoche. Now, Depoche arrived in the spring of 1721 at the command of Bienville, who was unhappy with his chief engineer LeBlanc de la Tour. Depoche arrived to a cold reception from de la Tour, which soon resolved itself into a friendship based upon their mutual troubles with Bienville. In the late summer of 1721, Poget and Latour were staking out the borders of the new city, taking a small complement of laborers to clear the path. In this entry, dated September 25th, 1721, Poget writes,
The day had been unbearably warm, and the workers cross with one another. The sun was setting, and Latour and I had been in a debate on whether it was better to die of heat prostration or return to the erratic demands of Bienville and die of frustration.
I tell you, sir, if Bienville says to me one more time,
Sir, remember to whom you are beholden.
I shall tender my resignation with the pointed end of my saber.
And while you're at it, old man, put in a postscript for me. How much further do you believe we can go before we reach sunset?
Did you hear that?
It was unlike anything I've ever heard. Latour, who was born in the colony, looked stunned, but unsurprised. The laborers, who had been arguing throughout the day, suddenly fell to silence. We listened, and after a while heard it again, this time louder. The men began to argue amongst themselves in a language I couldn't understand. The foreman, Olivier, came over to us in a fright.
Monsieur, we should head back to camp. Now.
Olivier, was that a ruse?
Yes, Monsieur. We need to pick up as quick as we can and go.
Which one is it?
Who else, Monsieur? Richard.
Who is Richard? What's going on here, Leblanc?
I'm afraid we're done for the day, Sir Boudreaux. Olivier, gather the sections in the hideous nets. You, over there, gather the men and the supplies. We're heading back.
With the tour demanding our departure, I saw them all go after a single man who fought brave to save himself from the mob. They tied him up, carried him beyond the water, and tossed him into the rushes. I attempted to intervene, but Latour held me back. What are they doing? He'll be killed. You, stop that!
Cease, Monsieur. There is nothing more to be done. We must go before it gets too late. Allez, back to camp!
Leblanc, what happened back there? Why did they tie up that man and throw him into the wilds? What was that sound?
It was protection for the colony, Monsieur. It was justice.
In what sense, monsieur? I saw no judge, no jury.
But you heard it. That sound, that howl was... That man they bound, his name was Richard. In the spring, he murdered another in cold blood. No one knows why. Bienville wasn't interested in any of it, so Richard was never punished. Today, he was called to judgment, and the colony obeyed.
Are you saying he was sacrificed? To some sort of supernatural beast? That's barbaric, sir. What sort of city are we building here, Latour? A pagan temple to the myths of old?
It isn't a myth, Adrien. You forget. I was raised in this colony from the start. My father landed with him. I know this creature to be real. The natives and the slaves call it a rougarou. It feeds on the guilty, the criminals of society. When it gets its due, the colony is peaceful. But when it is denied its prey, it feeds upon the innocent until the guilty are found. For 20 years I have seen it happen. Bienvenue et Nouvelle Orleans, Monsieur.
For the rest of the night, I lay in torment, replaying the events of the day in my mind. The next morning, we returned to the spot. What we found was almost too horrible to commit to paper. Richard had been torn to shreds, the pieces scattered across the weeds for yards, everywhere but the places we had cleared. No blood, no gore was to be seen upon the cleared land, only in the wilderness. I took this to be a sign, and decided instantly that this point would be the boundaries for the rampart walls. May I never again hear the curious name of Rougarou.
Adrien de Bourget wouldn't be the last to hear this word. Throughout the 19th and 20th centuries, the phrase would re-enter in nearly every newspaper in the city.
The victim, one M. Andre, was found outside the city ramparts on Sunday morning, dead. Reports from those who found the bloody scene described the wounds suffered by Andre as horrible and unimaginable to civilized persons. Though the constabulary has deemed the crime an act of wild animals, a man called Etienne said it was the work of a rougarou, a half-man, half-animal creature who stalks the guilty. The Louisiana Gazette, February 25th, 1811.
Residents of the area past Custom House and Durgenois were shocked to find the remains of the 3 criminals wanted for crimes against the citizenry in the early morning hours of April 1st, just outside the city limits. All 3 men were torn limb from limb. Medical officials report that substantial portions of the men's bodies were missing. A Mrs. Duplanchet informed reporters that the men were killed by the mythical rougarou, as punishment for their crimes. Others in the area refused to comment on the occasion. The B, April 8, 1828.
Citizens in the area near the borders of the 11th Ward, Jefferson City, were quick to report their beliefs that the murders of 2 men outside the city limits was the work of a rougarou. The local legend, considered by many educated and well-learned men to be a fantasy, is often blamed for many murders that go unsolved. This reporter is stultified to discover that the children's world of myths and stories still pass for truth in these God-given days of modernity and science. The Daily Picayune, June 19, 1838.
The incursion of the Civil War brought with it many more stories of the rougarou. Ever seen one of these? It's an amberol cylinder. You can tell by the blue color. These cylinders were the precursors to record albums. In 1914, my predecessor, Gemma Deere, recorded over 1,000 of these cylinders, each one 4 minutes and 45 seconds in length. This is she, reading a passage from the diary of Monsieur Lividay. Now, Lividay was a New Orleans Creole who worked secretly for the North during the war. His diary is significant for one reason: his mysterious death.
Archive 5B, Drawer 6. Drawer 6, Exhibit 104, Diary of A. Lividay, page 14, August 12, 1866. Since it was revealed at the end of the year that I worked for the Yankees, my simple, quiet life has become a daily nightmare. For months, the neighbors have been calling for me to be lynched, to be shot, to be imprisoned for life as a traitor to the South. My goals of reuniting this nation have become my downfall. Last night, I heard the most awful howling in the distance. It seemed to find me, to be calling to me. I rose from my bed and rushed out into the street. There I saw my neighbors, all out in the black of night, each one lanterns and candles in hand, staring right at me. It was the old Dutchwoman on the corner who began chanting, "Rougarou." Soon they were all doing it, chanting and pointing and staring at me. I bolted my door and ran back to my bed as quickly as I could. Until the morning I sat with my pistol on my hand, fearing the arrival of the rougarou, of my neighbors, of the police, of everything. I know now that I must find the rougarou tonight. If I am to live here in peace, I must go and confront it. If it is a myth, then I will return blameless. And if it does exist, I must kill it and bring it back for them to see. Either way, it ends tonight.
The diary ends there, as indeed did Mr. Lividay. 2 days later, his obituary appeared in the Picayune. His death was ruled attack by wild animal. What was left of him was interred in the Odd Fellows' Rest. Our next accounting of the rougarou comes from an unusual source, a direct donation of the personal papers of Vicomte Alfred Glenfarthing of Shropshire.
I spent the rest of the afternoon looking over the new property at the end of Josephine with the contractor, Mr. Mayor, and Mr. Silvery of the Canal and Banking Company. The sun was nearly set, and as our work was almost completed, we chose to soldier on and finish our task. I recall commenting to Mr. Silvery, "Have you ever seen a piece of that more suited for a college, sir?"
No, Count, I can't say it's Are we nearly done here, Mr. Mayor?
Juma Marcus, and yes, we're done, Mr. Silbury.
Oh, that's grand. I reckon know how it works.
Close, Count. We are New Orleans. There is a
Doggone it. A blood-curdling sound came from the undergrowth. I turned to see Silvery and Mayor both frozen. Silvery was pale like death, the colour of his thin cheeks now gone. We heard it again, and then Mayor shouted,
Run!
"This way, lads! I just walked the last house on the right! Get inside, mates, get in!"
Lock it! Lock the door, Count!
It's done, it's done. Pardon the coarse language, gents, but what the bloody hell was that?
Something horrible.
It's nothing to be concerned about. Just some local wildlife. Hardly worth the bother.
Pardon me for saying so, mate, but I've never seen hardly worth the bother of them quite so quickly as you did just now.
The two of you be quiet. Shut up.
Hey, you see anything?
No.
yet I don't.
What did you expect him to sing?
A Rougarou.
Keep your mouth shut.
He's going to find out anyway. Sooner than any of us would like.
What is that? What's a Rougarou?
Unfounded legend.
A creature that punishes the guilty.
Damn your eyes, Mayor!
All damned if that thing gets inside of this house, Tilbury. I'm sorry if I can't. You've been sold a bill of goods that doesn't detail your real price. That's one of us, gents. Time to bare our souls and find out whom it's after.
For the next 30 minutes, Mr. Mayor told me the tales of the Rougarou, despite Mr. Silvery's repeated directions, which soon grew anemic and half-hearted. After a few minutes of impolite questioning, Mr. Mayor and I had arrived at the revelation that none of us had any guilt.
Well then, that's us done. Which leaves you, Silvery.
What are you implying? That I have something to hide? How dare you? I've lived an exemplary life. A life to be emulated. I have nothing in my past, Mayor.
Fine then. Opens the door.
What?
You heard me. Opens the door.
You madman. You like that, wouldn't you? The German coast trash?
Disgusting!
Hold on, mate, hold on. I think it's gone.
It must have. You must be too terrible for even the Rougarou to eat, Silvery.
I will deal with you later, Mayor. Count, I can assure you that this is
We remained inside the house for another 30 minutes, both men bickering and snarking at one another throughout. By the time we left, I decided to rid myself of the properties and get out of New Orleans entirely. No amount of property, no matter how inexpensively obtained, is worth that sort of thing.
The Vicomte did indeed rid himself of these plots, but he maintained the rest of his properties in the city, even after he returned to England, giving rise to the concept of the slumlord in New Orleans. We've heard the testimony of those who thought themselves guilty and those who watched the guilty go to their fate at the fangs of the Rougarou. But something strange is there in the observations, something odd.
When it is denied its prey, it feeds upon the innocent until the guilty are found.
Such a statement would ordinarily be ignored as conjecture, simple legend. Were it not for Gentile, we might never have made the connection in these words. Now, the year before her death in 1956, Gentile stopped into a yard sale in the newly developed area we now call Old Ledger. While there, she discovered a box of old ledgers with a New Orleans company that sold crypt plots for the local cemeteries. In the margins on every page of the ledgers were notations, written in shorthand from a worker who identifies herself only as Joe. The story which unfolds is terrifying.
Archive 18L128. Newly acquired acquisition details in the accompanying folder and so on and so forth. After nearly 4 days of deciphering the remarkably compact shorthand notations discovered in the margin of the ledger, we have what I believe to be the full details of the events of February 29, 1940 at the corner of North Bourgeois and Iberville Streets. My name is Joe. I'm the accountant with the brokerage firm of Under Lincoln and Doherty.
This is the only way I can tell what really happened here. I hope someday someone will find this ledger and tell the tale. For the past 3 weeks, Ella and I have been trying to keep a lid on a keg of dynamite called the family Lafreniere. They started buying up trips from us right before the war. They were good customers, lots of men in the family, so lots of places to put them afterwards. Then about 2 weeks ago, things started going bad. Ella and I were called into Mr. Dotrieve's office.
We've got a problem. I just got off the phone with Renee Lafreniere. The family wants to open the crypts of Louis and Renaud.
The twins. I remember them. They had to expand the crypt for the two of them. Battle of Beaulieu Wood, weren't it?
Yes.
Why do they want to open their crypts?
They think the caskets are empty.
What? Why? I know that name. Why are they curious now? It's been what, 10 years ago? Renee Lafreniere. What makes them think them twins ain't in there?
One of them two-bit card-slinging fortune tellers over there in Jackson Square, that's what. Convinced them that the crypts are empty and the twins are still alive, calling to them.
That's the name on all the checks, Renee Lafreniere.
Yes, Joni, that's the name on the checks. The checks that are going to stop coming very soon.
Why? Just because some jip in a Bucha told them the sons are alive? That the crypts are empty?
Well, you're half right.
What?
The caskets are empty. for the most part.
Oh no, Mary and Joseph, what do you mean the caskets are empty? What have you done?
We'll all go to jail. That's fraud. That's grave robbing or shorting or something.
Ladies, calm down. It's nothing like that, either one of you. The twins were killed by stepping on a landmine, together. Honestly, there wasn't hardly anything left of the two of them when their remains arrived stateside.
All right, then what's in those caskets?
About 3 teeth, the collarbone, somebody's left foot. That and a bunch of St. Joe bricks for the weight.
Oh, dear Lord. I'm gonna be in the papers.
2 pallets, St. Joe bricks, dated 13 March 1919, memo crypt repair.
What are we gonna do?
Coroner's report, dated 21 March 1919. Louis Lafreniere, cause of death, landmine. Renaud Lafreniere, cause of death, landmine.
Hold on, Joe, say that again.
Say what again?
The coroner's report. The coroner's report. Joan, you're brilliant.
I am?
She is?
Yes, she is, you mousy little wonder. Ella, get 4 Jones on the telephone immediately.
Within the hour, Dr. Jones had arrived with a pair of thin files and went directly into Mr. Gotry's office. Ella and he continued to work until everyone else went home for the day.
Thank you again for Dr. Jones.
Don't worry about a thing. My office will stand behind you on this one, ladies.
Well, what did he say?
Before they can exhume the crypts, they have to go through the coroner's office. Dr. Jones believes he can prevent the Lafreniers from having the caskets checked because there's no, hold on, how do you say? Oh yeah, there is no just cause for disturbing the rest of the deceased.
Well, I guess not when there's nothing of the deceased to disturb.
Ella, please. This was a kindness to the Lafreniere family, believe you me. No family wants to hear that their children are so destroyed that there wasn't anything left to bury. There are more empty graves from the war than you want to know. All they want is to bury their dead and move on. That kindness.
Well, it seems to me that your kindness is about to bite you in the backside, Henry.
That's Mr. Dotree.
Oh, stick a sock in it, Henry. That's only during work hours and everybody else is gone except in Joni. I've known you since you were a rotten little kid and you haven't changed much in 35 years. The Lafrenières have money. Lots of it. And if they want to, they can get those crypts open. Then it's a hide, Henry. Then it's all a hide.
Just calm yourself, Ella. Even the Lafreniers can't take on the parish government, especially when the coroner agrees with me that no good can come of an exhumation. You just wait and see, girls. Old Henry has everything under control.
And for the next few days, Mr. Dotree seemed to have everything under control. Until the following Wednesday, when we received some late visitors to the office.
Sorry, gentlemen. We're about to close up.
Fetch me Henry Dotree, woman.
I'm sorry, gentlemen, but we are closed for today. You have to come back.
My name is René Lafreniere. I am your biggest client, and I am not to be dismissed by shop girls who fetch me Henry Dotree back.
Uh-huh. René Lafreniere. Got it. I'll announce you presently. And your friend to you?
I am Sir Thomas, madam, and I know things.
I'll bet you do. Wait here, fellas. Hey, Hen! Mr. Dotree. There's 2 gentlemen here to see you. Well, 1.
Thank you, Miss Kesselring. That will do. Good evening, gentlemen. What can I do?
I want nothing but your silence, sir. I have just come from the coroner's office. They refuse to grant me the exhumation. I demand that you let me in.
I can't allow that, Mr. Lafreniere. You must have approval before any body can be brought back out. It's the law.
It's a lie, Dotree. I have just come from there. There is nothing there. Is there? There's nothing inside those caskets except a few bits of awful meat.
Mr. Lafreniere.
I have seen it, good sir. I have seen in my visions that the caskets are bare. Only cold, hard red clay. A couple of teeth, some bits of bone, a foot. Your eyes grow wide, sir. Tell me I am wrong.
My counsel, my spiritual advisor, Monsieur Thomas. The spirits have shown me what is there. I now come to see for myself.
Sir Thomas, why do I know you?
I am often to be found in dreams, sir.
Or in the employment of this firm. About 10 years ago, was it, crypt maintenance?
Perhaps in another lifetime, Mr. Dotree.
Will you give me what I want?
Well, without a certificate from the coroner's office, you cannot exhume the crypts.
I'm calling the police, gentlemen. Now would be a good time to get lost. I got a boyfriend on the force. He likes neat packs.
Very well. You leave me no other choice. If I cannot have the justice of man, I would have the justice of beasts. Be warned, Mr. Dautrive. Before this night is out, you will pay for your deception. Sir Thomas, summon the Rougarou.
What the hell just happened?
Oh, good Lord.
Hey, Johnny, you okay over there?
Yes, I don't think they even saw me.
Ellen, when are the police getting here?
They're not. I didn't call them. By the way, one little watch time is 6:46 p.m.
All right. What to do? What to do?
First things first, let's lock that door. That storm is picking up something fierce.
Joe, call Ford Jones. Patch it through to me as soon as you get it. Ellen, call my wife. Tell her to get the kids to go to her mother's house across the lake right now. I'll explain when I see her.
Wait, oh, never mind.
Dr. Jones on line 1, Mr. Dautrive.
Ford, where are you?
I've come to my office after that Lafayette man and his mystic of his caused such a fuss. I sent everyone home. I'm leaving now. The storm is getting worse.
He threatened to summon the Rougarou.
No, you still believe in such things, Henry. It's nonsense. Look, he can't do anything without my say-so, and I categorically refuse.
Ford, what was that noise?
I'm not sure. It sounded like it came from outside. God, what was that?
Ford, lock yourself in. Ford! Hello? Oh, God. Did you get through to her?
Yes, I just hung up with her. They're on the way to Mandeville.
We have to go. Now, grab your purses. No streetcar tonight. I'll drop you both off. Let's go.
You don't have to tell me twice. Let's go, Jody. We're being chauffeured. What in the name of... Oh, great. Now the power's out.
It came from outside. Look, that old oak tree next door finally gave up. It's blocking the whole street.
Yeah, nearly hit your car, Henry. You're completely blocked in. You can't get out.
Oh, no.
It's not so bad, Mr. Dautrive. You can ride the streetcar with us. It's only a few blocks away.
No, we can't take the streetcar. We need to stay here. What if there's live wires out there? Like, somebody could get electrocuted.
Okay, look. Storm or no storm, I got a date. So let's call a cab and get on with the night.
No, I don't want to tie up the phones in case something happens.
Something like what, Henry?
Like what just happened to Dr. Jones?
What?
I'm sorry, Mr. Dautrive. I was listening on your call. I'm sorry.
What's going on?
That Tomas guy, the one with Lafreniere, I know him. He's down in La Farge. He used to work for us, remember? He helped put the twins into the frame. Yeah, he knows. And now they've summoned the Rougarou.
You've been hitting the sauce. There's no such thing as a Rougarou. It's a myth, a fairy tale.
Then what did we hear on the phone with Dr. Jones?
Ford's dead, Ella. We heard it happen on the telephone just a moment ago. And it's coming for us.
No, there's no such thing. No. Dead? No, it's all nonsense. The two of you, you're both drunk or crazy, but I'm getting out of here. Let me in that door.
Ella, are you okay? Come over here. Those electric lines are right outside the door. You could have been killed.
Good night, nurse. What a shock. I'll never complain about rubber-soled shoes again. I'm okay, Henry. You can let go. Let go! Jeez, I've always had 4 pairs of hands.
The storm is getting heavier. We'd never make it to the streetcar in this downpour, even if we could get out.
So much for my date. Anybody got any cards? Joan? Hey, Joan, what you writing over there? Not letting.
Nothing, just taking some notes. Ella,
Hello?
what is a Rougarou?
Hello?
It's a story Louisiana parents tell them
Yeah.
kids to make a behavior.
What?
That's all.
So what was it I heard on the telephone? It was horrible. It sounded like a wolf, you know, but bigger. Dr. Jones was terrifying. He screamed for help.
Yeah, well, poor Jones is always a little squirrely if you ask me. Henry, what's wrong?
They're dead.
Who's dead? What's the matter?
Hello? Oh, my name is Joan. I work for Mr. Zucker. What? Oh, no. Say that again. Oh, my God, have mercy. That was the police. They found Mrs. Dautrive's car in the canal. She's dead. So are the children. They said it looked like someone ran them off the road. The side of the car was ripped open like a big can opener.
Oh, my God, Henry, I'm so sorry. There's something in the door. Mr. Dautrive, we need to get out of here. Henry, we have to go now.
Here, the notations end. I am currently researching the newspapers of the time for any word Dautry, Ella Castellati, and the mysterious Joan. Once I have those artifacts collected, I will.
Genevieve did indeed discover what happened. Mostly. An obituary for the Dautry family appeared in the Times-Picayune, April 2nd, 1940. Authorities blame the deaths of Miss Dautry and her children on an unsolved traffic accident. Mr. Dautry's death and that of Ella Castellati were blamed on the storm, though officials on the scene seemed to state that the damage they witnessed couldn't have happened from only storm. The body of Dr. Ford Jones was never recovered. He was pronounced dead by a court a few years later. Yet nothing was ever found to place a surname to the mysterious Joan. A few months afterwards, René Lafreniere died and was interred in the same crypt, where his sons Louis and Renaud were also laid to rest. Until the fates of the good doctor and Joan are discovered, the file of the New Orleans Rougarou murders remains open.
We will return to Untold New Orleans in just a few moments. Support for tonight's broadcast of Untold New Orleans comes from Studio WTA, one of the premier architectural firms in New Orleans. And they hire architects and artists and Studio WTA, bringing New Orleans history into the 21st century. On the web at studiowta.com. Support also comes from NOLA Voice Theatre, the city's only theatrical troupe dedicated to the art, preservation, and performance of voice and radio theatre. Coming later this summer, NOLA Voice Theatre continues our summer series in support of the Valiant Theatre and Lounge, new episodes of our original anthology series, Untold New Orleans, and recreations of classic plays from the golden age of radio. All of our productions are presented under the auspices of the Actors Equity Association's Members Project Code. Find them on Facebook at facebook.com/NOLA Voice Theatre. Support also comes from the Valiant Theatre and Lounge, New Orleans' newest theatre located in the Old Arabi Arts District, a beautiful, personal, and intimate theatre. Our 120-seat black box theatre is the perfect size for the greater New Orleans area's best production companies. The theater has both a raised stage and raised seating, giving everyone in the audience a perfect view of the action. The venue also features a beautiful lounge with a full selection of drinks and libations, as well as live music and special events. Manager Richard Bayer invites everyone to join us for fun and entertainment at the Valiant Theatre and Lounge, 6621 St. Paul Avenue in New Orleans, in the Old Arabi Arts District. On the web at www.valianttheatre.com. We will return in just a few moments for the second half of Untold New Orleans.
Of course, we're talking about Lokey Theatre. One of the oldest theaters in the country. Even after the lights have gone down and the audience has left and departed, the little theater of the old square continues to perform. The ridiculous, the perilous, the comic, and the tragic never cease. Take, for example, the case of an actress named Caroline, just not on stage. Or the mysterious German stagehand with a penchant for hiding props. A lover of the arts who seems to never leave his chair. Or the designer seemingly possessed by a guiding power. This is the file marked The Ghosts of La Petite Theatre. The little theater in Rue St. Peter is a prime location. Right off Jackson Square, across from the illustrious Cabildo. At various times, the ground has held a governor's mansion, an emergency war hospital, a stable, several saloons, and a couple of restaurants before the drawing room players left the Matalma building. Great actors and designers brought their art to La Petite, why even the First Lady of the American Theater, Helen Hayes, was an honorary member, declaring the entire theater a national treasure. But the longest-running stories happen off-stage, because the show must go on. Take, for example, the would-be starlet known only as Caroline.
Okay, folks, let's take it from the top.
The courtyard of La Petite Theatre was a daily attraction. Designed by Ethel Crumbrett, the theatre's technical director, she created the look that we commonly associate today of the New Orleans courtyard. In the spring of 1925, the courtyard was in full splendor, as she writes in her journal. And she also writes about a scene she witnessed while hidden from view in a little sitting place she designed just for her.
While designing the set for the New York idea, I happened to overhear two young people ducking out of rehearsal to steal a moment near the fountain. I recognized the boy as one of the Deutsches, doubtlessly here to please his cousin Roland. A scallywag if there ever was. One, the girl was new to us. I knew her only as Caroline. She wants so desperately to be an actress, but she hasn't any talent for the stage. But from what I observed, she won't be using her acting talents to get ahead.
Oh, Caroline, you're the bee's knees. Come on, let's ditch this dull rehearsal and get nectar soda and avocados.
No, Minnie, I want to do this. I'm going to be a star, and it's going to be here. It isn't like I can run off to the opera house anymore. This is the place where everybody comes to see a show, and I'm going to be in that show and every show I can get into until I'm the main event.
Okay, I get it. I can make that happen, sweeties. I can get you cast. Remember who my cousin is.
Then why are you third spear carrier from the left?
Oh, that's for show. You know, putting up a good front for people. Can't be making me the star first time out now, can they? Come on. Avocados. You know you wanna.
I haven't thought of anything but you since audition.
Caroline, that's your cue. Where are you?
Oh no! This is your fault, Minnie Deutsch!
And they were gone. The Deutsch boys strolling behind with an arrogant gait. I'm happy to report that the rest of the afternoon was much quieter.
In those days, the newspapers ran vertical viewers, what we call a picture spread, of the shows of La Petite in rehearsal. One such appeared in the Times-Picayune 2 weeks before the opening of Big Mary. Among the stage shots that appeared of actors emoting on stage and smiling off, there appears a poignant photo of a lovely young girl in a white costume, gazing upon herself in a lovely, ornate wall mirror. The caption reads, "A chorus girl named Caroline admires her costume." Ethel Crumbrett wasn't the only one in La Petite who was watching the budding romance. Near the end of her life, board members Louise Nixon and Nat Chestnut were interviewed for a thesis project on the theater by one S. Fosberg, who asked about the legend.
Now, there were a few things we wanted to discuss. Mrs. Nixon, you had mentioned the story about Caroline.
No, not that again.
That's enough out of you, thank you. All I can tell you is what the family told me.
She wasn't family. She was a distant cousin at best.
Shush! The boy was there as a favor. He got expelled, and the cousins needed a place to put him until after the term. The girl got herself in trouble, and when the family found out, they shipped him off again. I've forgotten where. He wasn't
Look,
great.
the family had a reputation to protect. The theater was only a few years old, and it didn't need a scandal ruining everything. It was handled, and that boy went on to have a very successful career up north.
I see. And what happened to the girl?
No one knows.
Now, the wonderful thing about theater folks is that they love to tell their stories to anyone who will listen. Such was the case in 1983 on a public radio program called New Orleans Listens. It was this rare recording the host, Micah Paylett, interviews local actor Franklin Peterson, and the conversation turned to the legend of Caroline.
Stepped on the rake, caught Patricia writing his Coriolanus, and that was the last time I did a Shakespeare play.
Oh, that's rich. Now, there's one thing I wanted to talk about, and that's one of my favorite subjects here in New Orleans. Here we go. Oh, here we go. The ghosts at La Petite. Oh, I know, but I wanted to hear from someone who's worked there a lot. Just one story.
Okay. Well, I guess the one everyone finds out about first is the mirror ghost, Caroline. Legend is she was an actress at the theater in the 20s. Anyway, she was into this guy, and I think she got knocked up. And when the guy told her to take a hike, she climbed up to the attic and threw herself in the courtyard.
That fantastic courtyard at the theater. Nothing like it. If you haven't seen it yet, listeners, be a tourist in your own hometown. Go on, Frank.
Yeah. So, supposedly, I've never seen her, but I know lots of people who have. Since then, Caroline's been haunting the theater. Upstairs in the green room, there's this big, huge mirror. That's where they see Caroline.
Ooh, creepy. I love it. So what does Caroline look like when people see her?
Well, like I said, I haven't seen her. I try to avoid that mirror if I can, you know. I got no crazy women around me. I don't even come out of my reflection, right? The people I know who've seen her say she's dressed in this white dress. Some say it's a wedding dress, some say it's the costume she wore in a show. I don't know. But I know a lot of actors and actresses who say hi to Caroline whenever they pass the mirror.
Oh, that's great. That's just great. I'd like to thank my guest, actor Franklin Peterson, getting ready to open a new show, an open-air production of Chekhov's The Cherry Tree in City Park. Should be a big success.
And there the tale might end. Just another ghost story in a city filled with them. That is, if it weren't for a few seemingly unrelated things. A blind story in the Times Picayune announcing postponement of the Picayune by a week due to necessary improvements. Our program for the production does not list either the names of any ghost or any cast or crew member by the name of Caroline. And this was short until La Petite, dated a week before Pygmalion's opening night, for several new pavers with the notation, courtyard. It is something to ponder in life upon the wicked stage, or behind it. Take, for example, the tales of the German stage-hand with a penchant for practical jokes. Now, it isn't unusual for props and costumes to get lost during a play. Now, the occasional missing prop may happen due to carelessness or malice, but for every actor in 3 different shows had props that go missing, that's another matter. In 1968, entertainment reporter Al Shea interviewed a New Orleans actress called Stella Stanley, who made a career in European cinema. She talked about her days in the theater and seems to name the origin.
Thank you, Al. You know, New Orleans actors and actresses have the best stories. You remember that production of Taming of the Shrew I did at La Petite? You were still a boy then. We had this stagehand Hans, or Otto or something, German post fellow. He was in charge of the costumes, and he was a tyrant. He was in charge of the costumes, and he was a tyrant. He had a sign printed for backstage listing our costumes, do's and don'ts, mostly don'ts. costume. There is no smoking, no eating, no drinking, no running, no jumping around. I remember one of the chorus kids wrote in ink at the bottom, and no breathing and no acting. I've told that story all over Europe. It made me world famous in Poland.
So, now we have a name. Hans. Or perhaps Hans. A program from the 1937-38 season won Hans Otto Award. Worked as a stagehand in 5 shows that season, the last being The Taming of the Shrew. Summer Stewisky played the widow, later to become Stella Stanley. What happened to Hans Otto, and why is it said his spirit haunts the theater? For that, we go to another source, the actress and playwright Rosemary Corey. Miss Corey made the first cast recording of a New Orleans original musical, her own show, Cinderella and the Plastic Shoe. She also wrote an autobiography of her life in New Orleans theater, most of which has been lost to the ages. But these few pages remain, detailing a random event in her young life.
When I was a child, my mother worked backstage on shows at Le Petite. We never called it little theater like so many do. To her and to me, it was the grandest place in New Orleans and deserved to be called by its proper name, Le Petit Théâtre. And the people she knew there were like family. I remember one night she came home in tears. Mr. Otterbach, the nice German gentleman from across the river, took ill during the show and collapsed backstage. They rushed him to Hotel Dieu. It was too late. He died. I also recall afterwards they had to raise money for his burial. All he had was his job at Le Petit. We understood that. If we didn't have my father's salary, we too would have been living on what Mother earned at Le Petit. That was the one constant of life in New Orleans. This is the easiest and the hardest place in the world to live.
To this day, the legend of Hans, the German stagehand, still delights and confounds the young who enter the theater. It's said that if you leave your props or costumes and they go missing, you must politely and respectfully ask Hans to return them, and he will, in his own good time. But ghosts in New Orleans can apparently choose their opponents. According to a paranormal investigation of the building as it existed in the mid-1990s, 35 different entities were found inhabiting the entire theater. The latest, a 9-year-old boy who died in 1992 in an area far removed from the French Quarter. Now that could explain our next theatrical member of Untold New Orleans history. An observant presence known only as the Spectator. In 1919, 3 years after the drawing room players decided to open the community theater in the Boudreaux, another great tragedy befell the city.
Oh my God!
Fire! The General City, the French Opera House.
Extra, extra! Fire devours French Opera House. Entire structure lost.
Fire starts a new restaurant, destroys historic treasure.
Inferno destroys the Opera House. The heart of the old French Quarter has stopped beating.
That last headline was repeated many times over in the coming months. The heart of the French Quarter has stopped beating. But not just in reference to losing the opera. At the time of the fire, there was a wealthy patron called Delcy Laroche. By all accounts, he was a simple, direct man. He was a widower with no family, but a great fondness for the opera, and for those who performed it. One of these performers was the Creole Wagnerian alto, Caterina Boudreaux. In her memoirs, My Life as a Valkyrie, Madame de Bourriat recalls Monsieur Roche's great fondness.
And then there was another dear lover of the arts, Monsieur Darcy. How he adored the opera. How many nights would I wait for him to take me to dinner, only to find him sitting alone in the balcony with his funny too-tall hat upon his head. Albrecht's wicked spell. I often wondered what happened to him on nights that I didn't sing, for he performed every performance. How many evenings had I seen him, even when the theater was dark, walking through the entrance hall, his second home, as he called it. It was a joke among the company that Monsieur Arabi would often spend the night in his chair. I often imagined him sitting there in the darkness, dozing gently beneath his hat and dreaming of the grandeurs just witnessed, until the maids find him the next morning and send him on his way. After the fire, of course, I never saw him again, nor any of my suitors. The flames that had claimed the opera house had also claimed my career. Never again would I stand upon the stage and offer my voice as a vessel to the great one.
While Madame Duvour's talents were undeniable, her politics were questionable. But the figure she describes of a man wearing a top hat, sitting in the balcony, matches the reports of the Spectator. The story of the mysterious figure has been around for decades, almost since the opening of the theater. In 1978, the legend made its way onto syndicated Bob Braun's show. By coincidence, 2 New Orleans actors were booked on the show. So back to Brad Brockman and the movie starlet Barbara Marksland.
And we're back. We're talking to the wonderful actress, Miss Barbara Marksland, one of the stars of the new motion picture, Polynesia Woman. And Grace Brockman, star of the syndicated soap opera, Strange Arcadia. Now, during the break, we discovered that you already know each other.
Yeah, we're both from New Orleans.
We used to work together.
At Le Petit Theater.
Oh, that's a great theater. We're talking about Le Petit Theater in New Orleans, the French Quarter, beautiful theater, and that world-famous courtyard.
And a great kids theater, too. Children's Corner with Louis Barroso. They do great work.
Yeah. Now, during the break, you said it's haunted?
Oh, big time. The place is crawling with ghosts.
I saw one. I saw one of the ghosts. Remember when this happened?
I do.
Really? Tell us about it, Barbara.
I was out on stage one night by myself going over this one thing I was having trouble with.
Was it dancing that gave you problems?
No, walking. I had this one place I just couldn't do like the director wanted. So I'm out on stage by myself like an idiot. When I look up in the balcony and I see this guy in the very back, sitting there in kind of what do you call those hats, the tall ones?
A top
hat.
hat.
A top hat, right. He's wearing a top hat. Who wears top hats these days? I see him just sitting up there watching. And I'm thinking, that creep up there watching me rehearse says nothing. So I go running up the aisle of the theater and up into the balcony. Nobody there.
Nobody at all, huh? Are you certain you saw somebody?
Yeah, he was there. Thing is, there was only one way to get in and out of the balcony, and I didn't see him. All the other doors were locked. I get up there, deserted, like my last marriage. So I go home thinking, I'm bad. I ran off some high-class creep in the quarter. Next day, I found out from Brad.
She saw the Spectator.
The Spectator.
Been showing up in that same place in the balcony for years. Nobody knows who it was or where it came from. You see him in the balcony with a top hat, and when you go to look closer and talk to him, he's gone. Some of the older actors say that before they rebuilt the theater, when the Spectator appeared, there was a smell of heavy smoke.
The only smoke I smelled was my own, out of my ears.
Listen, we have to go to commercial. When we come back, we'll see a scene from Barbara's new film, Polynesia, Washington, and talk more about the Strange Arcadia. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Is it possible that Monsieur Arabi was true to his patent the night of the fire? Had he indeed tailed behind the opera and fallen asleep, only to be consumed by the flames? And if that's true, did his soul, longing for a place of art and culture, finally settled into the balcony of Le Petit Theater? Perhaps the ghosts of Le Petit are more active than we imagine. And before you go, Consider this recollection. In 2009, Los Angeles filmmaker Preston made the film 30 Days to the Bowl, a documentary of the city after Hurricane Katrina and the federal levee failures. Two of the featured subjects were actors Cox and Vatican Lokey. In this B-roll footage, unused in the final cut, Cox and Lokey recount a tale that others would find terrifying.
Are we ready, boys? We on? I can't. We still rolling? Good. Let's move on.
30 days, Eddie and Vatican, last interview. Take one.
Okay, guys. We were talking about New Orleans theater, how important it is to the city, and why you came back after Katrina.
We had to. It was too important. But, you know, theater was one of the first industries to come back after the storm.
Oh my God, Le Petit, that brand new orchestra pit. It flooded, but even they came back.
Yeah, we saw it yesterday. Beautiful theater.
And it's full of history.
Back to the early 1900s. It's the anchor of New Orleans theater.
The haunted anchor.
Yeah, I've heard that on TV shows. Have you seen them?
Since I was a kid. I grew up in the theater. I've seen Caroline, Otto, The Spectator, and all the others.
And sometimes they say him. Remember?
Do we have to tell that again?
What? Tell it. This is a documentary. That's why we're here.
We were working on a benefit. I guess it was around, what, 93, 94?
It was 96.
96. And Edward was the designer. So one night, in front of me and a bunch of other people, he was possessed.
Possessed? You mean like taken over?
Yeah. It was the Artist Gets AIDS benefit. There's footage of it on my YouTube channel.
Shut up about the YouTube channel. It happened to me, okay? It was the night before the show. I designed a poster, and they were going to sell, and that was going to become the set. We wound up having no budget and nothing for the set except for what I could find backstage. It was late. Everyone was tired. I was frustrated, and I couldn't find anything to decorate the lip of the stage. So I sat down in the front row, and
all of a sudden, he gets this strange look in his eye, gets up, and makes a beeline for backstage. Now, there's this weird little door back there. It's about 14 feet up. The only way that you can get to it is by climbing up the metal ladder that goes to the fly ring.
It's a little story, Jerry, that they built back in the 60s.
That door's been locked since before I got here in 1992. No one ever had a key. This one here scales the ladder like Spider-Man in need of a men's room, turns the knob, door opens, jaws drop. He crawls into this little tiny, dark, cinder block cave, no lights, and he pulls out 9 enormous plywood stars covered in silver glitter, and he doesn't say a word. Normally, he's barking out orders to get things done. I still don't know to this day how he got down the ladder. I just turned around and he's there. I think it was Vic Woodward handed you a screw gun. You don't know. Anyway, he goes out front. He puts the stars up along the lid, hands me the screw gun, walks right and sits right back down in the exact same chair he was in the front row, and says,
"Where'd the stars come from?"
What?
We're not making a joke, Mike.
Somebody guided me to those stars. I didn't know they were there.
Look, I know my husband. After 16 years of marriage, I bet him. But that look I saw in his eyes, I'd never seen it before. It wasn't him.
Well, who do you think it was?
In Le Petit, could have been anybody.
Eddie Petrine, Rosa Deutsch, Larry Kelly.
Helen Hayes, who knows?
It wasn't Helen Hayes.
But it so easily could have been.
Were you frightened at all?
Of what? I've known those ghosts all my life. Besides, I didn't know what was happening. Like you said, I sat down, looked up, and there were the stars.
That's amazing. Now, let me ask you.
Hold on, Mike. We've got a problem with the sound. Eddie, can we do it again for safety?
No, I don't want to go through that again. The footage ends there. What exactly happened to Edward Cox that night in the Petit Theater? We may never know the answer. And until that answer is found, he, along with the Spectator, Hans Otterbach, and Caroline, will remain here in the open files of Untold New Orleans. Good luck on your way out. And as we say adieu, we say it with the words of Lafcadio Hearn, who said of this remarkable city, "It is better to live here in sackcloth and ashes than to own the whole state of Ohio." And be careful out there on your way home, or you may become another part of Untold New Orleans. Good night.
While we are in intermission, and once Caitlin puts on the lights so people don't stumble out,
I
we
did.
invite you to have a life. Go! It's good. Okay. Please, when you go out today or this evening into the lounge, make sure that you order yourself an NVT cocktail. It's a special concoction just for you this evening. We'll see you in 20 minutes. Thank you.
What's that? It is, yeah. I don't know why. Okay. Thank you.
No, well, yeah, some might find some might. Yes.
Yes. Yep.
the NOLA Voice Theater, New Orleans' only troupe dedicated to the art of voice acting and radio theater. Tonight, we represent one of the great shows from the golden age of radio. Sit back, relax, and enjoy tonight's show, Arsenic and Old Lace, adapted for radio by Harry Kronman. Over 600 years ago, a writer named Geoffrey Chaucer set on his way to Canterbury. Murder will out. Certainly, it will not fail. But the sisters Brewster, whom we are about to meet, like their murders by the dozen. They're the creation of the playwright Joseph Kesselring, who made the Brewsters the center of his 1941 play, Arsenic and Old Lace, one of the longest-running plays in Broadway history. Tonight, we welcome William Lee as Mortimer, Vatican Lokey as Teddy, Jessica Daigle as Elaine, and Karen Shields and Beverly Brooks as the elderberry-loving sisters Brewster. On a quiet street under the arching elms in the town of Brooklyn, New York, the old Brewster home stands in dignified and over-decorated glory. The gas mantles are still in the hall, although electricity was installed several years ago. It's tea time, and Miss Abby Brewster mourns. The minister is visiting, and Miss Abby and her nephew Teddy are most attentive.
Won't you have another biscuit, Dr. Harper?
Oh, no, Miss Abby. I always eat too many of your biscuits just to taste the lovely jam.
But you haven't tried the quince. We always put a little apple in it to take the tartness out. We'll send you over a jar. Teddy, more tea?
What? Oh, what?
Miss Abby, I've been meaning to speak to you about your nephew, Mortimer, I mean.
Oh, yes. I understand he's taking Elaine to the theater again tonight. Teddy, your brother Mortimer will be here a little later.
Delighted.
We're so happy it's Elaine that Mortimer takes to the theater with him.
Miss Abby, I'll be frank with you. I do not entirely approve of your nephew's unfortunate connection with the theater. A drama critic is constantly exposed to the theater, and I fear some of them do develop an interest in it.
Well, not Mortimer. You need have no fear of that. Why, Mortimer hates the theater.
Really?
Oh, yes. He writes awful things about the theater, but you can't blame him, poor boy. He was so happy writing about real estate, which he really knew something about. And then they just made him take this terrible night position.
My.
But as he says, the theater can't last much longer anyway, and in the meantime, it's a living. Oh, now, who do you suppose that is? I'm coming.
Oh, hello, Miss Brewster.
Oh, how are you, Officer Brophy? Do come in.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Dr. Harper.
Sire, what news have you brought me?
Colonel, I have nothing to report.
Splendid. Thank you, sir. At ease.
We've come for the Christmas toys, Miss Brewster.
That's a splendid job you men do, fixing toys for the children.
Yeah, well, it gives us something to do while we sit around the station. You get tired of playing cards, then you start cleaning a gun. Next thing you know, you shot yourself in the foot.
Teddy, dear, go upstairs and get that big box from your Aunt Martha's room.
Delighted.
That's right, dear, up the stairs. How is Mrs. Brophy today?
Yeah, pneumonia. Oh, she's better now, a little weak still.
Well, I'm going to tell Sister Martha, and she'll bring you over some soup later. And I'll be right back.
Don't bother, Miss Abby. You've done so much for me already. Uh-oh. Hey, Colonel, you promised not to do that.
Well, I have to call a cabinet meeting to get the release of those replies.
You know, Reverend, he used to do that in the middle of the night. The neighbors complaining.
Oh, he's quite harmless.
Oh, sure. Suppose he does think he's Teddy Roosevelt. It's a shame a nice family like them hatching a cuckoo. The grandfather made a fortune off of, what's this called, a pat.
Well, Officer Brophy and Dr. Harper, how nice.
Oh, hello, Miss Martha. I've come to collect the Christmas toys.
Oh, yes, Teddy's Army and Navy, they wear out.
Oh, you're
Well, dear, it's pretty serious, I'm afraid. The doctor's there. He's going to amputate in the morning.
Can we be present?
No, dear. I asked him, but he said it's against the rules of the hospital or something.
Oh, here's Teddy with the Army and Navy.
Ah, thanks, Colonel. This will make a lot of kids happy.
What's this? What's this? What's this? What's this? The USS Oregon?
Oh, no, Teddy dear, put that back.
What, the Oregon goes to Australia?
Thank you, ma'am.
Get up!
Yes, sir, Colonel.
Yes, miss.
Yes, sir.
I shall retire to field headquarters. Charge! Charge the blockhouse!
The Black House?
The stairs are always San Juan Hill.
Have you ever tried to persuade him he wasn't Teddy Roosevelt?
Oh, no.
He's so happy being Teddy Roosevelt.
Once a long time ago, remember, Martha? We thought he could be George Washington. It might be a change for him.
But he stayed under his bed for days and just wouldn't be anybody.
And we'd so much rather he be Mr. Roosevelt than nobody.
Well, if he's happy, I'd better be riding along.
We'll give our love to Elaine and Dr. Harper. Please don't think too harshly of Mortimer, because he's a dramatic critic. Somebody has to do these things.
Goodbye, ladies.
Did you just have tea? Isn't it rather late?
Yes, and dinner's going to be late too.
Why?
Teddy!
Yes, Aunt Abby?
Good news for you. You're going to Panama and dig another lock for the canal.
Gee, my chance. That's bully, just bully. I shall prepare at once for the journey. Oh.
Abby, you mean?
Yes, dear.
While I was out?
Yes, dear. I just couldn't wait for you. I didn't know when we'd be back and Dr. Harper was coming.
But dear, all by yourself? I'll run right downstairs and see.
Oh, no. There wasn't time.
Where did you?
Martha, look in the window seat.
The window seat.
Go ahead, dear. Lift the lid.
Oh, Abby, isn't it just too delightful? And to think you managed it all by yourself.
We're almost home, Elaine. Now make up your mind. Where do you want to go for dinner?
Oh, I don't care, Mortimer, really.
Well, suppose we wait till after the show.
Well, that'll make it pretty late, won't it?
Not with the little stinker we're seeing tonight.
Oh, I was hoping it'd be a musical. They seem to have a humanizing effect on you, darling. After a serious play, we joined the proletariat in the subway, and I listened to another lecture on drama. It wasn't until we saw a musical that you took me home in a taxi and noticed my legs.
Elaine, where can we be married in a hurry? Say, tonight.
Well, I'm afraid Father would insist on officiating.
I'll bet your father could make even the marriage service sound pedestrian.
Are you by any chance writing a review of it?
Sorry, darling. Occupational disease. Here we are, the Brewster Mansion.
Mortimer, isn't that Teddy at the door?
Yes.
Well, what's he doing in shorts and a sun helmet?
Hello, Mortimer!
How are you, Mr. President?
Bully, thank you, just bully. What news have you brought me?
Justice, Mr. President. The country is squarely behind you.
Yes, I know. Isn't it wonderful? Well, goodbye.
Where are you off to, Teddy?
Panama!
Panama? But...
Panama's the cellar. He digs lots down there.
Oh, you're very sweet with him.
Teddy was always my favorite brother.
Favorite? I thought he was your only brother.
There's another brother, Jonathan. We don't talk about him. He left Brooklyn very early, by request. Jonathan was the kind of boy who liked to cut worms in two with his teeth.
What became of him?
I don't know. He wanted to be a surgeon like grandfather, but he wouldn't go to medical school first, and his practice got him into trouble.
Oh. Well, goodbye, darling. I'll run over and say goodnight to Father. Before I go out with you, he likes to pray over me a little. I'll be right back. I'll cut across the cemetery.
Hello, Mortimer.
Oh, hello, Aunt Abby. Did you see my chapter on Thoreau? I want to show it to Elaine.
No, I haven't, dear. We've thought you'd like a little something before you leave. Martha's getting a piece of the Lady Baltimore cake. Dr. Harper was here for tea. He's concerned about delaying going to the theater so much.
Well, he'd love tonight's horror. Murder Will Out.
Oh, dear. Well, I think I'll open a bottle of wine. It'll be nice with the cake.
Yeah, I can see it all now, the same old thing. When the curtain goes up, where is that chapter? The first thing you'll see, maybe in the window seat, will be a dead body. Sure, just like this one. A dead body! A dead body?
There is a happy land far, far. Lady Baltimore cake is so nice with a little wine, don't you think? Plates, Martha.
Aunt Martha, Aunt Abby,
Yes, dear.
you told me you were going to make plans for Teddy to go to that sanitarium, right? Happy Dale?
Yes, dear, it's all arranged. Teddy has to sign the papers.
Well, he's got to sign them right away. Oh, I've got to know sometime. I'm frightfully sorry, but I've got some shocking news for you. Teddy's killed a man.
That's nonsense, dear.
There's a body in that window seat.
Yes, dear, we know.
Oh, well, you know.
Now, Mortimer, just forget about it. Forget you ever saw the gentleman.
Forget?
We never dreamed you'd be.
But who is he?
Well, his name is Hoskins. Adam Hoskins. That's all I know about him. Oh, except that he's a Methodist.
Well, what's he doing here? What happened to him?
He died.
Aunt Martha, men don't just get into window seats and die.
Of course not. He died first.
Well, how?
Oh, Mortimer, don't be so inquisitive. The gentleman died because he drank some wine with poison in it.
Okay. I'll bite. How did the poison get in the wine?
Well, we put it in the wine because it's less noticeable. When you put it in tea, it has a distinct odor.
You put it in the wine?
Yes, and I put Mr. Hoskins in the window seat because Dr. Harper was coming.
Oh, so you knew what you'd done. You didn't want Dr. Harper to see the body.
Well, not at tea. That wouldn't have been very nice. Now you know the whole thing, Mortimer, so just forget about it. I do think Martha and I have the right to our own little secrets. Butter plates, Martha, butter plates.
Yes, of course, dear. Oh, Abby, while I was out, I dropped in on Mrs. Schultz. She's much better, yes, and she would like us to take Junior to the movies again.
Well, we must do that tomorrow or the next day.
Yes, but this time we'll go where we want to go. Junior's not going to drag me into another one of those scary pictures.
Aunt Martha, Aunt Abby, what are we going to do?
What are we going to do about what, dear?
There's a body in the window seat.
Yes, Mr. Hoskins, we told you that.
Well, good heavens, I can't turn you over to the police. What am I going to do?
Well, for one thing, dear, you're going to stop being so excited.
And for pity's sake, stop worrying. We told you to forget the whole thing.
Forget! My dear Aunt Abby, can I make you realize that something has to be done?
Now, Mortimer, you behave yourself. You're too old to be flying off the handle like this.
But you can't leave him there.
No, Teddy's down in the cellar digging the lock.
You mean you're going to bury Mr. Hotchkiss in the cellar?
Hoskins, dear. And oh, yes, of course, that's what we did with the others.
Oh, no, you can't bury Mr. The others?
The other gentlemen.
When you say others, do you mean others? More than one others?
Oh, yes, dear. Let me see. This is 11, isn't it, Abby?
No, dear, this makes 12.
Oh, I think you're wrong, Abby. This is only 11.
No, dear, because I remember when Mr. Hoskins first came in, it occurred to me that he would make just an even dozen.
Well, you really shouldn't count that first one, dear.
Oh, well, I was. I was counting the first one, so that makes 12.
Hello? Oh. Hello? Al? Oh, my, it's good to hear your voice. Al? Oh, I'm checking out. Well, I don't know. I didn't pick up the tickets. Yeah, I'm glad you called. Now, look, get a hold of George right away. He's got to review the play for me. Yeah, I'll explain later. Now, let me see. Where were we? Oh, yes. 12?
Yes. Abby thinks we ought to count the first one, and that makes 12.
Well, all right now, all right. Who was the first one?
Mr. Midgley. He was a Baptist. He came here looking for a room.
He was such a lovely old man.
All his kith and kin were dead, and it left him so forlorn and
We
unhappy.
felt so sorry for him.
And then, when his heart attack came, and he sat there in that chair looking so peaceful, remember, Martha? Well, we made up our minds then and there that if we could help other lonely men into the same peace, we would.
Oh, he dropped dead right in the chair. Oh, how awful for you.
Oh, no, dear. Well, it was rather like old times. Your grandfather always used to have a cadaver or two around the place.
Well, I know, but...
You see, Teddy had been digging in Panama, and he thought Mr. Midgley was a yellow fever victim.
That meant he had to be buried immediately.
So we took him down to Panama and put him in a lock.
And that's how it started?
Of course. And we realized we couldn't depend on that happening again, so, well, then we...
You remember those jars of poison that have been up on the shelves in your grandfather's laboratory all these years?
You know Aunt Martha's knack for mixing things. You've eaten enough of her pickling.
Well, dear, for a gallon of elderberry wine, I take a teaspoon of arsenic, then add a half a teaspoon of strychnine, and just a pinch of cyanide.
Oh, that should have quite a kick.
Yes. As a matter of fact, one of our gentlemen found time to say, how delicious.
Yes, he did. Well, we'll have to get things started in the kitchen for supper.
I wish you could stay, Mortimer.
I'm trying a new recipe.
I couldn't eat a thing.
Hello, darling. Did I keep you waiting?
Oh, it's you. You run along home, Elaine. I'll call you up tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
Well, you know I always call you every day or two.
But we're going to the theater tonight.
Oh, no, we're not. Elaine, something's come up. Now, you run along home.
Well, what's happened? If we're going to be married...
Married?
Have you forgotten that not 15 minutes ago you proposed to me?
I did? Oh, well, as far as I know, that's still on. Now, you run along home.
You proposed to me one minute and throw me out of the house the next.
I'm not throwing you out of the house, darling. Will you get out of here?
Mortimer! Mortimer!
Hello? Al? What? George is in Bermuda. Well, get somebody. Get the office boy. You know, the bright one, the one we don't like. All right, then we'll get the printer. He knows how I write. Third machine from the left. Yeah, but Al, he might turn out to be another Walter Lippmann. Yeah, all right.
Was that Elaine, dear?
Aunt Martha, Aunt Abby, sit down, please.
But Mortimer.
Sit down there.
All right, dear. We're sitting. What is it?
You can't do things like that. I don't know how to explain this to you, but it's not only against the law, it's wrong. It's not a nice thing to do. People wouldn't understand.
Abby, we shouldn't have told Mortimer.
What I mean is, this has developed into a very bad habit.
Mortimer, we don't try to stop you from doing the things you like to do. I don't see why you should interfere with us.
Hello? Al? Oh, all right. I'll see the first act and tear it to pieces. All right, Al. Now look, I've got to go to the theater, but before I go, will you promise me something?
We'll have to know what it is first.
Will you do this for me? Don't do a thing, anything. I mean, don't do anything. Don't let anyone in this house, and leave Mr. Hoskins right where he is.
We were planning on holding services before dinner.
Services?
Certainly. You don't think we'd bury Mr. Hoskins without a full Methodist service, do you? Why, he was a Methodist.
Can't that wait until I get back?
Oh, then you could join us. Oh, you'll enjoy the service, especially the hymns. Remember, Martha, how beautiful Mortimer used to sing in the choir before his voice changed.
And remember, you're not going to let anyone in this house while I'm gone. Have you got some paper?
Well, here's some stationery. Will that do?
Thank you. That's fine. I can save time if I write a review on the way to the theater.
Right behind you, Johnny.
Well, this is the home of my youth.
Oh.
As a boy, I couldn't wait to escape from this place. Now I'm glad to escape back to it.
Yeah, Johnny, it's a fine hideout.
The family must still live here. There's something so unmistakably Brewster about the Brewsters. I hope there's fatted calf awaiting the return of the prodigal.
Yeah, I'm hungry. Oh, look, Johnny, a drink. Elderberry wine, Johnny, a good omen, yes? Here's to you, Johnny.
Who is it?
Who are you and what are you doing here?
Darby, Aunt Martha, it's Jonathan.
You get out of here.
But I'm Jonathan, your nephew, Jonathan.
Oh, no, you're not. You're nothing like Jonathan, so don't pretend you are. You just get out of here.
But Aunt Abby, I am Jonathan, and this is Dr. Einstein.
And he's not Dr. Einstein either.
Not Dr. Albert Einstein, Dr. Herman Einstein.
Wonder, his face. He sounds like Jonathan.
Have you been in an accident?
No, my face. Dr. Einstein is responsible for that. He changes people's faces.
Abby, I've seen that face before. Oh, do you remember when we took that little Schultz boy to the movies and I was so frightened? It was that face.
Aunt Martha.
Easy, Johnny, easy. Now don't worry, ladies. For the last 5 years, I give Johnny 3 new faces. His last one, well, I saw that picture too just before I operated. I was intoxicated.
You see, Doctor, you see what you've done to me, even my own family.
Johnny, you're home. These are your lovely aunts. They know you.
Well, Jonathan, it's been a long time. Where have you been all these years?
Oh, England, South Africa, Australia, and the last 5 years, Chicago. Dr. Einstein and I were in business there together.
Oh, we were in Chicago for the World's Fair.
Yes, we found it awfully warm.
Yeah, he got hot for us too.
Well, it's wonderful to be in Brooklyn again. And you, Abby, Martha, you don't look a day older. Just as I remembered you, sweet, charming, hospitable. And dear Teddy, I remember him so high. Did he get into politics? You know, Doctor, my little brother was determined to become president.
Yeah?
Well, Jonathan, it was very nice to have seen you again.
Bless you, Aunt Martha. It's good to be home again.
Well, Martha, we mustn't let what's on the stove boil over.
Oh, yes, of course. If you'll excuse us, Jonathan, unless you're in a hurry to go somewhere.
Martha?
Oh, yes, I'm coming, Abby.
Well, Johnny, where do we go from here? The police have pictures of that face. They've got to operate on you right away. We've got to find some place for Mr. Spinalzo, too.
Don't waste any worry on that rat.
Johnny, we got a hot stiff on our hands. You can't leave a dead body in the rumble seat. You shouldn't have killed him, Johnny. He's a nice fellow. He gives us a lift. What happens?
He said I look like Boris Karloff. That's your work, Doctor. You did that to me.
Now, Johnny, find a place somewhere. I fix you up quick.
Tonight.
Johnny, I gotta eat first. I'm hungry. I'm weak.
Jonathan, we're glad you remembered us and took the trouble to come in and say hello. But, well, you were never really happy in this house, and we were never happy while you were in it, so we've just come to say goodbye.
But Aunt Abby, I promised Dr. Einstein that if ever we came to Brooklyn, I'd bring him here for one of Aunt Martha's home-cooked dinners.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm afraid there wouldn't be enough.
Oh, Abby, it's a pretty good-sized pot roast.
Pot roast, how appropriate.
I think the least we could do is...
Thank you, Aunt Martha. We'll stay to dinner.
Well, we'll hurry it along. And Jonathan, if you want to freshen up, why don't you use the washroom in Grandfather's old laboratory?
Oh, is that still there? I suppose.
Oh, yes, come on.
Well, we get a meal anyway.
Grandfather's laboratory.
Hmm?
Doctor, a perfect operating room.
Oh, too bad we can't use it.
I'll handle this. Boy, this house will be our headquarters for years.
You mean... Oh, that would be beautiful, Johnny. This nice quiet house and those aunts of yours, what sweet ladies. I love them already. I get the bags from the car.
But we must wait till we're invited.
If they say no?
Doctor, two helpless old ladies.
Oh, it all comes true. A beautiful dream. It's so peaceful.
That's what makes this house so perfect for us. It's so peaceful.
Return to Arsenic and Old Lace in just a few moments. In 1941, when Arsenic premiered, Richard Lockey, co-author of Mr. and Mrs. Darque, was just 40 years of Arsenic and Old Lace on that January 1st night in 1941. His own play was about to open 2 nights later, but here he was, the drama critic of the New York Sun, following to report truthfully on what he thought about arsenic. Lockey wrote, "It is a noisy, preposterous, incoherent joy. You wouldn't believe that homicidal could be such great fun." That was gallant of him. And accurate, too.
Places, places, please, places.
Our actors are now ready. So, Act 2 of Joseph Kesselring's brilliant comedy, Arsenic and Old Lace.
Oh, Aunt Martha, you haven't lost any of your skill.
Why, thank you, Jonathan.
And now, I know you and Dr. Einstein both want to get where you're going.
But my dear aunts, I'm so full of that delicious dinner, I can't move a muscle.
Yeah, it's so nice here.
Well, after all, it's very late.
I found it! I found it!
Did you lose something, Teddy?
I found it! The story of my life. My biography. You see? Here we are, both of us.
We are?
Yes, see, it's printed here. President Roosevelt and General Goethals and Connecticut. That's me, General, and that's you.
My, how it changed.
Well, you see, that picture hasn't been taken yet. We haven't even started work on the Connecticut. General, we must both go to Panama now to inspect the lots.
No, Teddy, not to Panama.
Yeah, Panama's a long way off.
Nonsense. Just down in the cellar.
The cellar?
Yes, we let him dig the Panama Canal in the cellar.
General, as President of the United States, I demand that we inspect the lots immediately.
Teddy, I think it's time you went to bed.
I beg your pardon. Who are you?
I'm Woodrow Wilson. Go to bed.
No, you're not Wilson. Your face is familiar. Let me think. Perhaps I meet you later on my hunting trip to Africa. Yes, yes, you look like someone I might meet in the jungle.
Teddy.
Teddy, it's your brother Jonathan, dear.
He's had his face changed.
Oh, so that's it. A nature faker.
And perhaps you'd better go to bed, Teddy. Jonathan and his friend have to go to their hotel.
General Goethals, inspect the canal.
But Johnny...
Inspect the canal.
All right, Mr. President, we go to Panama.
Ole! Follow me, General. Oh, I have to wear a sun helmet. It's down south.
Of course. Well, bon voyage.
Aunt Abby, I must correct your misapprehension. We have no hotel. We came directly here. This is my home.
But Jonathan, you can't stay here.
Aunt Abby, you have a most distinguished guest in Dr. Einstein. I'm afraid you don't appreciate his skill. In a few weeks, you'll see me looking like a very different Jonathan.
Oh, he can't operate on you here.
Oh, I forgot to tell you. We're turning Grandfather's laboratory into an operating room. We expect to be quite busy.
Hey, Johnny, down in the cellar.
Dr. Einstein, my dear aunts have invited us to live here.
Oh, you fixed it.
Well, you're sleeping here tonight.
Aunt Abby, please get our room ready.
But,
Now.
well, come along, Martha, dear.
Johnny, when I go down in the cellar, what do you think I find?
What?
The Panama Canal.
Yes. The Panama Canal.
It's a hole Teddy dug, 6 feet long and 4 feet wide.
Down there?
And it just fits Mr. Spinalzo.
Rather a good joke on my aunts. They're living in a house with a body buried in the cellar. Come on, we'll bring it in through the window.
He's been so patient in the window seat.
Teddy, I'd better get Mr. Hopkins to Panama right away.
Abby, I will not invite Jonathan to the funeral service.
Oh, no. We'll wait until they've gone to bed and come down, and then we'll hold the services.
The general was very pleased. He says that the canal is just the right size. He says that...
Teddy, there's been another yellow fever victim.
Oh, dear me. That will be a shock to the general. But I'll have to tell him. All their regulations, you know.
No, Teddy, we must keep it a secret.
Yes.
A state secret.
Yes.
You promise?
You have the word of the President of the United States. Cross my heart and hope to die.
Now, Teddy, you take the poor man down to the canal.
And we'll come down later and hold services.
You may announce that the President will say a few words. Where is the poor devil?
He's in the window seat.
Oh, seems to be spreading. We've never had yellow fever there before. Up we go! Oh, he died for his country. Open the cellar door, Anthony!
Johnny, are you out there?
Wait, I'll lift up Mr. Spinazzo.
Wait, I can't see so good, Johnny. It's dark.
What happened?
Someone left the window seat open. I fell in.
Well, get out. Take Mr. Spinazzo.
Okay, just give me... Oops, I lost a leg.
Here.
Johnny, somebody's coming.
Get him in the window seat, quick.
Oh, all right.
Give me a hand in through the window.
Here, are you in?
Yes. Shh.
Miss Abby? Miss Martha? Miss Abby, it's so dark in here.
Who are you?
Elaine Harper. I live next door.
Turn on the lights, Doctor.
Yeah, okay, Johnny.
Who are you? Where are Miss Abby and Miss Martha?
Perhaps we'd better introduce ourselves. This is Dr. Einstein.
Dr. Einstein? I suppose you're going to tell me next if you're Boris.
I'm Jonathan Brewster.
Oh, you're Jonathan.
Oh, you've heard of me.
Just this afternoon. Well, I'll be running along home now.
Oh, no. I think she's dangerous. She's seen us.
Let her go, Johnny.
She saw us. Remember that.
Stay away from me. Take your hands off of me. Oh, Teddy.
It's going to be a private funeral.
Teddy, tell these men who I am, please.
What? That's my daughter Alice.
Oh, no.
Doctor, your handkerchief.
Oh, help!
Get her down to the cellar, quick.
Right this way, come, please.
What's going on down there? What are you doing?
We caught a burglar, a sneak thief. Go back to your room.
Look out, Johnny, she got away.
Let go of me.
Elaine?
Mortimer, where have you been?
At the Henry Miller Theater. I forgot my key. And who's this?
This is your brother Jonathan, and this is Dr. Einstein.
Well, I know this isn't a nightmare, but what is it?
I've come back home, Mortimer.
Jonathan? Jonathan? Oh, you always were a horror, but do you have to look like one?
Mortimer, have you forgotten the things I used to do to you when we were boys? Remember the times you were tied to the bedpost? The needles under your fingernails?
It is, Jonathan. Oh, I remember. I remember you as the most vicious, venomous form of animal life I ever knew.
Now, don't you boys start quarreling again the minute you've seen each other.
Jonathan, you're not wanted here. Now get out.
Well, I'm sleeping here tonight, in your room.
Johnny, maybe we better sleep down here, On the window seat?
Window seat?
Window seat?
Yeah, the window seat.
Ah, the window seat. Well, maybe I'd better sleep down here.
Oh, we wouldn't trouble you. We insist on sleeping down here. Doctor will go up and get our bags. You can have the room in a moment, Mortimer.
Mortimer!
What's the matter with you, dear?
I have almost been killed.
You've almost been... Abby? Martha?
It wasn't us, it was Jonathan.
He mistook her for a sneak thief. Would you like some coffee, dear?
Oh, great idea. Coffee, sandwiches. I haven't had any dinner.
Well, we'll get it ready. Come, Abby.
No wine.
No, dear.
I'm sorry I'm so late, Elaine, but it's after 12. 12? Elaine, you gotta go home.
What? Mortimer, I want to know where I stand. Do you love me?
I love you very much, Elaine. I love you so much, I can't marry you.
Have you suddenly gone crazy?
Oh, I don't think so, but it's just a matter of time. You see, Insanity runs in my family. I practically yell.
Now, just because Teddy is a little...
No. It goes way back. The first rooster, the one who came over on the Mayflower, you know, in those days the natives used to scout the settlers. He used to scout the natives.
But darling, this doesn't prove you're crazy. Well, look at your aunts. They're roosters, aren't they? And the sanest, sweetest people I've ever known.
Well, even they have their peculiarities.
Mortimer, you're not even looking at me. Come away from that window seat.
Yeah, right away, Elaine. Ah! Another one. Elaine, you gotta go. Something very important has just come up.
Oh, from where? We're here alone together.
Elaine, if you love me, will you get the devil out of here?
Mortimer, will you kiss me goodnight?
Why, of course, darling. Quickly. All right, good night, dear. I'll call you in a day or two.
You critic!
Aunt Martha, Aunt Abby, come in here.
Yes, dear. What is it?
Where's Elaine? You promised me who was in that window seat.
No, dear.
Look. And it's not Mr. Hoskins.
Well, who could that be?
Are you trying to tell me you've never seen that man before?
Well, I certainly am.
Now, Aunt Abby, don't try to get out of this. That's another one of your gentlemen.
Mortimer, how can you say such a thing? That man is an imposter. And if he came here to be buried in our cellar, he's mistaken.
But, Aunt Abby, you put Mr. Hoskins in the window seat. Now, this man couldn't have just gotten the idea from him. By the way, where's Mr. Hoskins?
He's in Panama, waiting for the services, poor dear. We haven't had a minute with Jonathan in the house. Oh, dear, we always wanted to have a double funeral. But I will not read services over a total stranger.
A stranger? Aunt Abby, how can I believe you? There are 12 men down in the cellar, and you admit you poisoned them.
Yes, I did. But you don't think I'd stoop to telling a fib.
Jonathan, I want to work with you. Aunt Abby, Aunt Martha, I think Jonathan is leaving at once.
Oh, no, Mortimer.
Oh, yes, you're taking your cold companion with you from the window seat.
The window seat?
You're my brother, and I'm going to give you a chance to get away. And if you don't take it, I'm going to call the police.
Mortimer, remember, what happened to Mr. Spinalzo can happen to you, too.
Oh, dear. Come in. Why, Officer Brophy?
Hello, Miss Martha, Miss Abby. I saw your lights on, and I thought there might be sickness in the family.
Oh, come in, officer. This is my brother, Jonathan.
Oh? Hey, he looks familiar. I've seen him somewhere before.
I don't think so.
Yes, well, it's too bad Jonathan can't stay, isn't it?
Well, if everything's all right.
Oh, don't go, officer. Stay and have some coffee and a sandwich.
Well, if you say so.
Well, I'll go into the kitchen while Jonathan collects his things. All his things. Come along, officer.
Yeah, sure. Hey, say, Mr. Brewster, I've been meaning to ask you about the play I've been writing.
Doctor, this affair between my brother and me has got to be settled.
Now, Johnny,
We're going to sleep right here tonight.
with a cop in the kitchen and a Spinalzo in the window seat?
That's all he's got, Hollis. So we take Mr. Spinalzo down and dump him in the bay and come right back here. Hide the suitcases in the cellar. Go on.
I think we should get out, Johnny. Johnny, come quick!
What is it?
That hole in the cellar! We got an ace in the hole.
Still here, Jonathan? I thought I told you.
We're staying.
You think I was bluffing? You think I won't tell Officer Brophy what's in the window seat? Officer Brophy!
If you tell Brophy what's in the window seat, I'll tell him what's in the cellar.
The cellar?
There's an elderly gentleman down there who seems to be very dead.
And what were you doing in the cellar?
Oh, what's he doing in the cellar?
No, thank you, man. That's all the coffee I can think. Oh, Mr. Brewster, I'd like to tell you the plot of this play that I'm writing.
No, Brophy, no, you can't stay here. You've got to go and call in. The precinct.
Yeah, but I want to tell you about this here play.
No, we'll talk about it later. Someplace later.
All right. Oh, how about the back room at Kelly's?
Fine. I'll meet you at Kelly's later.
Oh, great, Mr. Brewster. I'll be there. Unless I drop dead.
Yeah.
Is that you, Mortimer?
It's Jonathan unhappy, Mortimer went out.
Where are you going?
To Panama to bury Mr. Spinalzo.
But he can't stay in our cellar.
There's a friend of Mortimer's downstairs waiting for him. He and Mr. Spinalzo will get along fine together. They're both dead.
He must be Mr. Hoskins.
You know about what's downstairs?
Well, of course we do, and he's no friend of Mortimer's. He's one of our gentlemen.
Your gentleman?
Besides, there's no room for Mr. Spinalzo. The cellar's crowded already.
Crowded with what?
There are 12 graves down there now.
12 graves?
That leaves very little room, and we're going to need it.
You mean you and Aunt Martha have murdered?
Murdered? Certainly not. It's one of our charities. So you just take your Mr. Spinalza out of there.
You've done that here in this house, and you buried them down there?
Johnny, we've been chased all over the world. They stayed right here in Brooklyn and do just as good as you do.
What?
You've got 12 and they've got 12.
I've got 13.
No, Johnny, 12.
13. There's Mr. Spinalza.
Yeah?
Then the first one in London, 2 in Johannesburg, 1 in Sydney, 1 in Melbourne, 2 in San Francisco, 1 in Phoenix.
Phoenix?
The filling station.
Oh, yeah.
The 3 in Chicago and the 1 in South Bend. That makes 13.
But you can't count the one in South Bend. He died of pneumonia.
He wouldn't have got pneumonia if I hadn't shot him.
No, Johnny. You've got 12 and they've got 12. The old ladies are just as good as you are.
No, they are they? Well, that's easily taken care of. All I need is 1 more, that's all. Just 1 more.
Well, here I am.
Mortimer, where have you been?
I've been over getting a doctor's signature on Teddy's papers.
Mortimer, what's the matter with you?
Running around getting papers signed at a time like this.
Do you know what Jonathan is doing down there?
He's putting Mr. Hoskins and Mr. Spinalzo in together.
Well, let him. Is Teddy in his room?
Teddy won't be any help.
Just had to go and tell Jonathan about those 12 graves. If I can make Teddy responsible for those, I can protect you, don't you see?
No, I don't see. And we pay taxes to have the police protect us. We'll call them.
Oh, no, but you can't. They'll find out about Mr. Hoskins and the other 12 gentlemen.
Mortimer, I don't think the police would pry into our private affairs if we asked them not to.
No, you can't do this. I won't let you.
Well, if Jonathan and Mr. Spinalza are not out of this house by morning, we're going to call the police.
There, all done, Johnny. Mr. Hoskins and Mr. Spinalzo all put away neat and tidy. We're all done.
You're forgetting, Doctor, my brother Mortimer.
Now, Johnny, tonight? We do that tomorrow, or the next day.
No, tonight, now.
No, Johnny, please, I'm tired. And tomorrow I gotta operate. Not tonight, we go to bed, huh?
Doctor, it's going to be done tonight.
Johnny, I know that look. Okay, with a quick way, huh? A quick twist, like in London. Beep.
No, Doctor. This calls for something special. I think perhaps the Melbourne method.
Johnny, no, not that. 2 hours. And when it was all over, the fella in London was just as dead as the fella in Melbourne.
Get your instruments.
No, Johnny.
Get them. We operate tonight, Doctor. On Brother Mortimer.
My bugle, Mortimer! Hand me my bugle!
No, Mr. President. Just sign these papers.
I cannot sign without consulting my cabinet.
But this must be a secret.
A secret proclamation? How unusual.
Yes, Japan mustn't know until it's signed.
Oh, Japan, eh? Well, I'll sign it right away. I'll take it into the closet. A secret proclamation has to be signed in secret.
But at once, Mr. President.
Now let's put on my signing clothes. Interviews at an end.
Thank you, Mr. President. Sign it right away.
Close the door, Doctor. Now, won't you sit down, Mortimer? Don't chew on my handkerchief. It's imported lace. Doctor, the curtain cord. Tie him up. Mortimer, I've been away for 20 years. But every night I dreamed of you. In London I dreamed of you, and in Melbourne there, tight and neat. Now, Doctor, your instruments, we go to work.
Please, Johnny, for me, the quick way.
All ready for you, Doctor.
I gotta have a drink. I can't do this without a drink. And wine, remember this afternoon? Where did that old lady put? Oh, here. Elderberry wine. I split it with you. We both need a drink.
Very well, Doctor. We'll drink to Mortimer. To my dear dead brother.
Cabinet meeting on the double!
That idiot, he goes next.
No, not Teddy. That's where I stopped. I drove a line at Teddy.
Now we've got to work fast.
Yeah, the quick way, Johnny.
Yes, Doctor, one quick twist of the silk energy.
Hey, the colonel's got to stop blowing that horn.
It's all right, officer. We're taking the bugle away from him.
We promised the neighbors he wouldn't do that anymore. Oh, hey, Mr. Brewster. Why you look that up?
He was explaining the play he saw tonight. And that's what happened to the fella in the play.
Oh, yeah? Gee, they practically stole that from the second act of my play. I'll tell you about it. No, wait a minute. I'm gonna leave you this way. This time, Mr. Brewster, you'll listen to the plot. Well, it starts in my mother's dressing room where I was born. Only I ain't born yet. Then we get back to me mother. There she is, lying unconscious in her lingerie. The fiend is standing over her with an axe. There, I like a sofa, huh?
That'll put Johnny to sleep.
Oh, that's just the second act. Not the toy act.
Johnny, wake up. I can't wake him.
What's going on in here?
Johnny, it's cops. Cops!
Proofy!
Oh, hi, Lieutenant. This is Mortimer Brewster. He's gonna help me write the play.
Did you have to tie him up to make him listen? The whole precinct is out looking for you. It's 8 o'clock in the morning. Give me the phone and I'll tie him.
Gee, Mr. Brewster, I have to run through the third act quick.
Hello, Captain. Brophy's here. You don't have to worry. Yeah, we found him in the Brewster house, so you can call off the big manhunt. You want us to bring him in?
Manhunt? Oh, so I've been turned in, eh?
I know, buddy. They got us wrong.
I suppose you and that stool pigeon brother of mine will split the reward.
Reward? Grab him, Brophy!
You stay still, Mac.
Now I'll do some turning in. There are 13 bodies buried in our cellar.
Oh, yeah?
I'll show you. You come on down to the cellar with me. 13 bodies.
Maybe you better go down, Joe.
With him? Not me. He looks like Boris Karloff.
Ah! Get him off me! I'll get your head out of the way!
Oh, what do you know about that? Imagine him claiming there were 13 bodies buried in the cellar.
Get him out of here.
I'll have to drag him by the feet. And out. Take him into the kitchen.
What a story. Ha! 13 bodies buried in the cellar.
Sire, there are 13 bodies buried in the cellar.
Who are you?
I'm President Roosevelt.
What is this?
Yeah, he's the one that blows the bugle.
Oh dear. Dear me, Brother Jonathan, the yellow fever victim.
Well, will you just get him out of here? Now, you. Didn't anybody untie you yet? Here, I'll do it.
Oh, now, Lieutenant, listen to me.
That crazy brother of yours has got to be put away. We don't want no more bugles blowing.
Yes, I know. I have the papers right here. Teddy's going to Happydale. Now, about those 13 bodies.
Yeah. Can you imagine what would happen if that cockeyed story got around? And now he's starting a yellow fever scare. It's lucky I don't fall for that story. 13 bodies.
I beg your pardon. I'm Mr. Witherspoon of Happydale Sanitarium. I believe I'm to pick up a gentleman.
Oh, Teddy!
I just finished my cabinet meeting. Yes, Mortimer?
Mr. President, I have very good news for you. Your term of office is over.
Oh, then I must start my hunting trip to Africa, don't I? Well, who's
face. Try to get into the White House before I moved out.
Who, Teddy?
Taft!
Oh, this isn't Mr. Taft, Teddy. This is Mr. Witherspoon. He's your guide for Africa.
Oh, Woody. Glad to meet you, sir. And Martha, and Harry, I'm on my way to Africa. Isn't it wonderful? Oh, and if that sergeant comes, tell them to wait.
And Abby, and Martha, this is Mr. Witherspoon from Happydale. Teddy's going with him.
No, he's not.
Not while we're alive.
The police want him to go. He blew his bugle again.
That's right, ma'am.
Well, if he goes, we're going with him.
We won't be separated from Teddy.
But we can't take sane people at Happydale.
Look, will you settle this? There are still murders to be solved in Brooklyn.
Yes. Are there?
Teddy's got to go. With the story he's telling, we'll have to dig up the cellar. He says there's 13 bodies buried down there.
But there are 13 bodies buried in our cellar.
Right. I'll take your word for it, lady. I'm a busy man. How about it, Witherspoon?
Well, they have to be committed.
Well, Teddy committed himself. Can't they commit themselves? Can't they sign the papers?
Certainly.
Oh, well then. If we can go with Teddy, then we'll sign the papers. Where are they?
Yes, where are they?
Sign up, Witherspoon. I want to get this cleaned up.
Oh my. We've overlooked one thing. We're going to need the signature of a doctor.
A doctor? Oh, yes, a doctor. Dr. Einstein?
Me?
Come over here. We'd like you to sign some papers.
Please, I must go.
No, just come right over, doctor. At one time last night, I thought the doctor was going to operate on me.
Oh, please.
Yes, doctor, just come right over here. Sign right here, doctor.
Yes, very well, Here. There.
Are you leaving us, Doctor?
I think I must go.
Oh, aren't you going to wait for Jonathan?
I don't think we're going to the same place.
There now. Everything's quite in order.
Well, I'm almost relieved. I'm really looking forward to going. The neighborhood here really has run down, so. Well, Mortimer, we're all ready to go now. The house will be yours and we want you to live in it.
Oh, no, Aunt Abby. The house is too full of memories.
Oh dear, but you'll need a house when you're married.
I'm afraid I can't ever marry Elaine, or anybody.
Oh, there's something else, Mortimer. You signed our papers as next of kin.
Of course, why not?
But you see, dear, you're not really a Brewster.
Not a Brewster?
No, dear. Your mother was a widow when she came to us as a cook, and you were born about 3 months afterwards. But she was such a good cook that we didn't want to lose her, and so brother married her.
I'm not really a Brewster?
No, don't feel so badly about it, dear.
Oh, no.
Oh, it's a tragedy, isn't it? No one knows who your father is.
He might be anybody.
You're right. Well, isn't it wonderful? He might be anybody. I've got to tell Elaine, he might be anybody.
All right, Jonathan, come on.
I'm coming, Lieutenant. Goodbye, aunties. So this house has seen the last of the Brewsters. Well, I can't better my record now, but neither can you. At least I have that satisfaction. The score stands even, 12 to 12.
Jonathan always was a mean boy. Never could stand to let anyone get ahead of him.
I wish we could show him he wasn't so smart.
Well, ladies, perhaps we'd better be going.
Martha?
Yes, Abby. Oh, yes. Mr. Witherspoon, does your family live with you at Happydale?
I have no family.
Oh, that must be very lonely for you.
I suppose it does.
Well, Martha. Mr. Witherspoon, I think at least we should offer you a glass of elderberry wine.
Oh, elderberry wine? You grow
know, but the cemetery's full of them.
Well, you certainly don't see much elderberry wine nowadays. I thought I'd seen my last glass of it.
Well, here it is.
Well, ladies, to a long life!
So we don't know what happened to Mr. Witherspoon. What do you think? Tonight's production of Joseph Kesselring's Arsenic and Old Lace starred William Lee as Mortimer Brewster, P.D. Boudreaux as Jonathan Brewster and Dr. Hopper. There was